This is andreasbatakis and welcome to the Real Show. Today it's just you and me and we're gonna get up close and personal. And what do I mean? I want you to join me in this journey seeking answers of what's gonna happen in 2019. We already find ourselves in middle of February and I get asked the same questions basically by yourselves and other people that I meet every day. And what are these questions? I'll tell you the top three. Is it a good time to buy? Is it a good time to sell? What will happen in the real estate market in 2019? So let us try now and explore those questions. It's not necessarily that there's always a straightforward answer, but hopefully with the information that I'm going to be sharing with you today, you will be able to find the answers for yourselves. So let us start by looking at a snapshot of what happened in January of this year compared to the same time last year. So I'll tell you what happened. The average sales price for the GTA this January was actually higher than the same time last year. It was at over 748,000 when 1 year ago we had it at that's almost 736,000. We already see that 2019 started at a higher price point compared to 2018. Furthermore, the number of sales was up slightly this January compared to the same month of last year. Specifically, it went up by 0.6%, which is just 22 more homes, but it's still up. I want you to look at here a little bit more closely though. What we saw as well is that the average days on the market are also going up. This is a trend that started last year, and in my opinion, despite the fact that we still find ourselves in a seller's market driven by demand, it is going to take longer for residences to sold compared to last year, and it will actually require considerably more effort as far as marketing strategy and the involvement of professionals. So no matter if someone is a buyer or a seller, professional advice of knowledgeable people will be vital in helping them achieve what they want. This is always a snapshot of the whole GTA and all property types. Wouldn't it be more interesting if we looked at closely on how this translates for each single property type? So let's do that just now. So look at how different the numbers are when we're looking at a breakdown between four main property types, which is detached homes, semi-detached, townhouses, and condo apartments. Not only you see how prices differ, but also you can see how the prices differ inside the city, which are considerably higher. Like you can see that the detached home is at 1.174 inside the city. No wonder that more detached homes are sold outside the city rather than inside the city of Toronto, if that is the average price. Because look outside the city, how the average price of a detached home is at 883,000, which is a significant difference compared to 1,170,000. Also, pay attention to how the percentages are changing here. We see that overall, the detached homes are actually down this January compared to the prices they had last year. Semi-detached are up overall in the GTA, townhouses as well, and of course condo apartments lead the increase. Looking within the city of Toronto, you can see as well that there the deduction of detached homes is higher. What does this mean for you personally? And this is where I want to make a point rather than trying to address all the different scenarios that are found out there in real life. Think about it this way. If you are an existing homeowner and you want to upgrade to a detached home, overall, it looks like it's a wise move because you can buy a detached home for less while you can actually sell your semi for more if that's what you want to do. Similar situation, if for some reason you want to go for a smaller home, depending on the type of home that you have, so again, if you have a semi-detached or maybe a townhouse or even a condo townhouse, it's going to be beneficial for you to consider. I think you get the idea here that I can't address every single scenario, but it all relates to your personal situation. And furthermore, once again, despite the fact that we've put now the numbers under a magnifying glass, looking at price points within the city of Toronto even, we're looking at the whole city. And as you know, things are very different when you are on the west end, the east end, the center of the city. So you gotta keep that in mind always, that you need to consider where you are and where you want to go. But enough with the snapshot of January of 2019 compared to the January of 2018. Let's try and go now a little bit deeper into the conversation, trying to reveal what will happen in 2019 overall. Now, before we do that though, I want to remind you something that I've mentioned in the past, which is what is the actual benchmark of sales that we should keep in mind when we're looking at what may happen and how we judge the market overall. We had sales between, let's say, 72,000 and just over 92, 93,000. That's volume of residences sold. So would it be more reasonable if the benchmark that we should expect would be somewhere between 83,000 and let's say about 92, 93,000. We fell short in 2018, right? Because the sales were just over 77,000. But let's see what the predictions say for this year. We expect, and this is, when I say we, it's not me personally, obviously, this is surveys that came out from the Toronto Real Estate Board, and as you can see with survey results from Ipsos, that they expect that we will reach that benchmark I'm talking about of 83,000 this year compared to the 77,000 and a half that we had last year. And they were predicting, and this, by the way, this survey came up before the stats for January. They're predicting that the actual average sales price as well, overall, it's going to go up by 4.2%. So we're looking at higher sales compared to last year and potentially higher prices compared to last year. I believe that you can see how this relates to you're a buyer or a seller. Always you need to look at the micro markets that are of interest to you, but also remember that even if you're a seller and you intend to buy somewhere else, if the area that you want to buy in is also going up in price, then by selling at a higher price, are you really gaining a lot? Or is it just reaching the point where it doesn't make a difference? Now, how do the surveys support these results? I'll tell you how they support it. There's a number of pillars that they base this projection upon. One of the pillars is the fact that they've actually done a research asking potential buyers, and they've noticed that in 2018, in November, there were 29% that they actually said that they were likely to buy. Now that was actually higher than what was told, that what the researchers were told in November of 2017, and it's actually higher even than what they were told in 2016 and almost as high as they were told in 2015, which is important because remember, 2016, 2017 were the years where there were a lot of sales and the market was basically on fire. But this is just one indication that they support this projection upon. The next thing is the fact that there is a lot of people out there and there is more coming in. The population growth expected for GTA in 2019 is between 2 and 2.5%. So from the point of demographics, as long as people will come in, they will need somewhere to live. And obviously, eventually those people, or a significant percentage of those people, will decide that they want to buy their own property. So this is also a thing that drives the demand that we're talking before, because of course, if, as I said at the very beginning, I do believe that this is still a very much demand-driven real estate market. The economics support it. Overall unemployment in 2018 was at 6%. These people are moving from around the world and coming to the GTA exactly because they know that there are employment opportunities. This seems to be a very valid argument, and it's what we have experienced in previous years. We'll always have to play devil's advocate and see the other side as well. Despite the fact that we're talking about the specific real estate market of the GTA, the demographics of the GTA, as well as its local economy, we're not independent or untouched of what's happening overall in the global economy. Everything is interconnected. So we are going through some uncertain times as far as international trade is concerned. And if that continues or somehow intensifies, that will impact our local economy as well. It will impact the employment opportunities that businesses can offer, because these organizations that are based in the GTA actually export their services. So they are dependent of what's happening on global trade. Saying that, we survived NAFTA agreement negotiations, and that actually lasted for over a year. So as long as nothing dramatic happens or changes, we're pretty good to say that this seems realistic. But of course, there's always need to be a margin of error. You know, they said that sales will be up to 83,000. They can be more than that. They can be less than that. Only time will tell. This is the next interesting question that I get also asked a lot and relates to everything that we've said so far, which is, Andreas, seriously, how do all these people manage to find the down payment to buy a home? Good question. And look at the results here, which are actually astonishing. This is not the percentage of people that they bought. This is the percentage of down payment that they had available when they were purchasing a property in 2018. And you can see that it was like total, they had about 29.9% of the purchase price available for a down payment, for a deposit. So that's pretty impressive. Now we can see that for the city of Toronto, that actually was up to 31.8%. And then for outside the city was closer to the average. And of course, first-time buyers had a lower percent. So where do people find the money? And there's the answer, which is very interesting. We can see that a significant percentage comes out of equity from the current home. So that is very significant, because you can see that for November of 2018, that was actually a significant percentage here, right? Like it's more than 22%. Now, I also wanted to show you how much they get as a gift from family or friends. Now, a gift could be a loan, or the dad and mom bank actually making a gift towards your new start, which happens a lot as well. So these are the percentages down here. You can see from savings that they have from RRSP. The point is that people, or at least a significant number of people that are determined to do it, make it happen. Now, of course, we saw how the detached homes, when within the city they have an average of 1,170,000, it's extremely difficult for a first home buyer, even if they combine different sources, to come up with a down payment for such a large amount. And also you have to consider where the mortgage rates are and such a large mortgage. On the other hand, existing homeowners have the advantage that they can use their existing home, their existing asset as collateral, can do partly a refinance, and may decide if they want and if they're able to either keep the first home and invest in a second one. But even if they're selling the first home to buy a second one, obviously that gives them a greater advantage compared to a first home buyer that is currently renting and actually has that expense every month of paying the rent. Another interesting point, since we have affordability, it seems that in the GTA, what's missing, and within the city of Toronto even, is the missing middle. You can see the percentages here. So you'll tell me now, what's the missing middle? Well, I'll tell you what's the missing middle. The missing middle housing is basically the housing unit types that fall between the single detached or semi-detached house and the high-rise apartment building, which is, what's a high-rise, you'll say? Well, I'll tell you what it is. It's a 5 or more stories building. So these types, they include ownership and rental townhouses, duplexes, laneway homes, and low-rise apartments like triplexes, quadruplexes, stuck townhouses, and even garden apartments. Now, a primary goal is to enhancing the supply of that missing middle, because if we do that, we will offer the ability to more people to be able to buy those homes which are going to be considerably more affordable compared to the detached or semi-detached. The politicians say that they've heard how big of an issue and a concern is for people living in the GTA housing affordability. But realistically speaking, no matter what they're gonna do or decide to do within 2019, cannot have any short-term impact on what we're experiencing. So overall, this is what the projection looks like. And I hope that with all this information that I shared with you tonight, you will be able to find some of the answers that you personally are seeking. You have questions, you want a personal meeting to discuss some things that relates to you, I'm happy to do it. All you need to do is make the call or send us a private message and I'll be happy to meet you in person. This was Andreas Batakis and The Real Show. See you next week.